The ancient ruin trembled like something alive beneath the surface, sending thin streams of dust drifting from broken ceiling stones as Captain Jace Ward pushed deeper inside with slow, careful steps. The air felt heavier the farther he walked, thick with a strange coldness that settled over his skin like a warning. In the center of the massive chamber stood the artifact, an impossible pulsating object that looked both mechanical and organic at the same time, covered in shifting blue patterns that moved like living veins. Jace swallowed hard, knowing every instinct inside him was begging him to leave this place, turn around and run. But he wasn't alone. Kira of the Lysari walked several steps ahead, her silver skin reflecting the cold blue light as if she belonged in this unnatural place. Her violet eyes didn't show fear. They showed something far more dangerous: acceptance. The quiet, heartbreaking acceptance of someone who already knew she wouldn't survive what was coming. She walked with calm purpose, not hesitating even once, and the steady determination in her expression made Jace's stomach twist. Something was wrong, more wrong than he had expected. The mission briefing had spoken of a dangerous relic, yes, but nothing about Kira's sudden tension, nothing about the pressure in the air that seemed to push against his mind like a silent threat. When she reached the artifact and placed her fingertips gently on the glowing surface, the chamber shook as if responding directly to her presence. She didn't look surprised. She looked like someone fulfilling a responsibility written before she was even born. Jace called out to her, demanding an explanation, and only then did she speak, her voice soft, steady, and full of a sadness he had never heard from her before. The artifact wasn't simply a relic. It was a weapon, a planet-devouring engine created during an ancient war. It had destroyed entire star systems before the conflict ended, and her ancestors had sealed it away using the life force of their own royal bloodline. And she was the last of that bloodline. Jace felt the breath leave his chest as the truth slammed into him. She had known. She had known from the moment the mission was assigned. She had accepted this outcome long before they walked into the ruin. She was here not as a soldier or a scientist, but as a sacrifice. She explained that the artifact was waking, drawing power from deep within the planet. And if someone did not bind it again, if someone did not give it the life force it demanded, it would break free and consume everything. Her voice remained strangely calm as she spoke, her expression gentle but firm, as if she had already made peace with her fate. But Jace could not accept that. Never had, never would. The idea of letting someone he trusted, someone who had saved him countless times, walk willingly into death felt like a knife twisting in his chest. When she stepped closer to the artifact again, ready to give up her life for the galaxy, Jace acted without thinking. He lunged toward her, grabbing her wrist and pulling her away an instant before her hand could touch the artifact's core. Light exploded outward like lightning, trapped in a sphere, blasting them both across the chamber and smashing them into the cracked stone floor. The ringing in his ears drowned out everything for several seconds, but as soon as he could move, he forced himself upright and yelled at her with a voice that cracked from emotion and dust. He shouted that she wasn't allowed to do this, not while he was there, not while he could still fight. He told her humans didn't believe in prophecies or predetermined sacrifices. They fought. They survived. They protected people they cared about. He refused to lose her to an artifact, to fate, to anything. For the first time, Kira's steady expression shook. She looked at him with wide, startled eyes, as if she was seeing a part of humanity she had never understood before. But before either of them could say more, the artifact shrieked, not in sound, but in a vibration so violent it made the stone under their feet crack. Blue light surged outward in wild beams, slicing through stone pillars and melting the floor in glowing streaks. The artifact had recognized their interference and reacted with fury. Kira grabbed Jace and pulled him behind a fallen slab of stone as another beam shot overhead, carving a deep groove into the ceiling and sending rocks crashing onto the floor. With the chamber growing hotter and more unstable, Kira screamed that the artifact was accelerating its awakening. If she didn't stop it immediately, the entire planet would be swallowed. But Jace was done listening to destiny. As the artifact's pulsing light grew even stronger, he looked at Kira, really looked at her. She was scared, not for herself, but for him and for the galaxy. Her shoulders shook despite her attempts to stay steady. Her lips trembled slightly when she whispered that there was no other way. And that was when Jace made the most reckless decision of his entire life. If the artifact demanded a sacrifice, then he would give it himself. Before Kira could react, Jace broke from cover and sprinted toward the artifact, dodging beams of energy, feeling the heat blast against his skin. He reached the core and slammed his palm onto its surface, expecting instant death, but instead of being consumed, he felt a freezing rush spread through his arm, like ice crawling through his blood. The artifact reacted violently, flickering, cracking, and making a strange rattling vibration like confusion. Kira screamed for him to step away, realizing what was happening. Humans were too unstable. Their energy was chaotic, unpredictable, not clean and orderly like Lasari energy. The artifact couldn't absorb Jace's life force properly. It couldn't shape it. It couldn't control him. And the realization made the artifact lash out, sending a massive shockwave that threw Jace across the room so hard he felt his bones rattle. Kira ran to him, helping him up despite the growing heat that made the air near unbreathable. She begged him to stop, saying she would handle it, that she was born for this, that it had to be her. But Jace shook his head through the pain, gripping her arm tightly. He told her she was more than a sacrifice, more than a name in an ancient prophecy, more than a royal descendant meant to die in a forgotten ruin. She had laughed with him on long missions, fought beside him, saved him, trusted him. And he refused to let her end her life, just because history demanded it. Something broke inside her expression when he said that something soft, something fragile, something that looked like a spark of hope she had never allowed herself to feel. But the artifact wasn't waiting. It roared again, its core cracking open like a glowing eye, pulling energy from the entire planet. The chamber's floor split open in jagged lines. Heat poured upward. The walls glowed dangerously. They were out of time. Kira's voice trembled as she admitted something she had not dared say. The artifact would not accept any energy except hers. But Jace suddenly realized something important: the artifact couldn't handle him alone. What if it couldn't handle them together? He told her his insane idea. Combine their energies, human chaos mixed with Lysari harmony, creating something the artifact couldn't adapt to, something that would overload it from the inside out. Kira stared at him like he had lost his mind. Maybe he had, but it was the only chance. With the ruin collapsing and light tearing across the room, she finally nodded. Slowly, she took his trembling hand and placed it against her chest, then placed her own glowing palm over his heart. Their energies reacted instantly, purple from her, blue-white from him, twisting together in a bright swirl that lit the chamber in crackling light. Together, they stepped toward the artifact. The moment their joined hands touched the core, an explosion of power erupted. The chamber vanished in a storm of blinding light. Every muscle in their bodies felt like it was tearing apart and fusing back together at the same time. The artifact screamed an unearthly, cosmic howl as cracks spread across its surface in chaotic patterns. Then, with one final burst, it shattered completely, collapsing in on itself until it vanished into dust and silence. When the world finally stopped spinning, Jace found himself lying on the stone floor, barely able to breathe. Kira was beside him, alive but exhausted, her violet eyes soft and full of emotion. She whispered that he was reckless, foolish, impossible. He whispered that he was human. She smiled small, trembling, real. The artifact was gone. The planet was safe. And something new, something powerful and unspoken, had formed between them. And as the dust slowly settled, Jace told her this was only the beginning of their story, not the end. If you enjoyed this story and want more powerful HFY sci-fi tales, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next adventure.